Hello and welcome to an Everquest leveling guide 75 to 115. I'm going to do this guide a little different than the other one. There's going to be a little bit more anecdotal kind of information. It's not going to be very comprehensive. I've found my way to go from 75 to 115, and that's kind of, how I'm gonna go through this is the way I've gone. I am at I think 2 groups and a little bit more at close to 115 or already all 115. I think Gnome Regard is one of the only characters not at 115 at this point. Maybe there's I think a Berserker also that I'm been leveling that's not at 115. But that's mostly because I only have one tank at the moment at 115. I think I have a warrior at 114 and some change, but he's like in heroic gear, so I can't even count him. I'll get to that in a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, so assumptions: you're either solo, you're grouped with real people, or you're multi-boxing. I'm gonna say gold account mostly for this. Free accounts, I think about 85 is when a free account kind of becomes useless, in my opinion. And I mean like a true free. You're never gonna chrono it or anything like that. If you're gonna chrono it and get the AAs, then that's a different story. But if you never spend a penny on getting the auto grant or any of that stuff, so that you can get more AAs than 200, I can't see you getting very far, honestly. So I say no twinking and no power leveling, but at the end I have a slide on power leveling. So kind of, this is your kind of the first time you have access to guild hall teleports, let you burn your lessons, and you have maps. Just basic stuff. Basic, kind of things that have for group composition. Snare is not as important now at 75 plus. Shrink is still useful in some places. Crowd control is very useful, and I'll kind of give some information on that. Resurrection is very useful. The cleric in battle resurrection is very useful, and then the other ones are useful also. Evac is, in my opinion, is actually kind of useful. That kind of gives some I don't have very many. I don't think I have a wizard. I can't remember. I had a lower level wizard and I gave up on him. I just didn't like it. But I have a 115 druid, and I must say, druids suck, but having evac is great. Tanks, Shadow Knight is obviously the #1 choice right now for group tank. I've been leveling up a warrior, and I just haven't geared them out yet, but I'm assuming they're going to be just as good as a Shadow Knight with less utility. And a paladin. I started leveling one, but I gave up on it. And I tried tanking with an earth pet, doing some weird stuff, and it didn't work out as well as a real tank, so I just don't see it as valuable. Movement speed is not as important now. It's 75 plus because you should have, if you're gold, you're auto granted all the movement speed stuff at this point. Bard speed, on the other hand, is awesome. I love it. I try to always put a bard in most of my groups. Healing, you're gonna need a real healer at this point. Probably a real tank also. Cleric is the best healer, hands down. I don't care what anybody says. Shamans have more utility than a cleric, but in my experience with a cleric in the group, nothing ever goes wrong. for me anyway. It's just a shaman, sometimes shit goes wrong. And I have not even tried to solo heal with my druid yet. Something I need to do, but she needs more AA. She is only at like 34,000 AA. I've been trying to get the shaman to max AA, so yeah. Paladin, I don't have a paladin, so I don't know exactly, but I think that you could probably do some cheesery or a paladin kind of heals in some cases for some things. And rangers no longer can heal at this level, and a mercenary can keep you alive, the cleric one, so that'd be fine. That group's no longer existing. Let's see here. Yeah, this is just I've tried different combinations, and I'm still leveling up characters to try more things. So every 5 to 10 levels, so from 75 to 115, go get your spells. And especially at 110 plus, get your spells. Just go buy them all in Eastern Waste and COV and the Western Waste as soon as you're able to go there and buy them. They're like 4,000 each. Just buy them all in one shot and keep them in a bag or something, because you're gonna want them as soon as you level up. Yeah, this is just where all the locations are, and I think I have videos on all of those. If not, they're gonna be released at some point because I made them. I just haven't edited them. So here, and you're probably gonna need to farm platinum. That's a whole different video series on how to get money. But it's gonna each spell is like 4,000 at the high end, and you're getting like 100 plat per kill sometimes. Split that between a group, you're getting like 20. So it's it's gonna take a while if you don't have good methods of farming money. And yeah, make sure your tank your tank has to be your most geared character if you're multi-boxing, and I mean the tank has to be the most geared character. Like, you can get away with, I had, when my first group got to 115, I had characters that were still in the heroic gear. I think it was a Beast Lord I boosted with a heroic character, and by the time I'd gotten that character to 115, they were still in mostly heroic gear. I think I had upgraded the weapons, and that's about it. And then I have a whole video on gearing and how to do that, but things get harder. I remember at about 110, I just like gotten 109, 110. I was like, I'm gonna go do this mission in No Memorial Mountain. First trash mob like one shot my tank, and and that was because I had bad gear and no AAs. So there's a lot of nuance to then just the leveling. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm putting the, like in all the previous leveling videos, I was like, go do the daily tasks, but now the daily tasks, they're from up till about 100. The daily task from Franklin is going to be, a little bit of experience. I think it goes down from 20 to 10 as you get closer to 100. But it's, some of these quests are locked behind progression and stuff like that. They're not as accessible. But if you want to take the time to do them, they're definitely something to do, and they give you places to go grind. I don't cover those because I did a very specific way to level my groups to 105, so it's different. And then Clayton, I guess it's his brother, also offers 2 random tasks for daily missions. I did this a few times, but I kept running into an issue where there was a level 95 requirement daily I would get, and I couldn't do it. And some of these were just like in parts of the game I'd never been to, and it was just like I didn't want to spend the time trying to figure it out when I had a better method. So the better method from 75 to 105 is the Gribble missions. I haven't found anything better. By and far, these are the best the best things to do. So the Gribble quest, Into the Hills, Scouting Ahead, Disrupting Ritual. At first, you might not be able to do all 3, but once you can, I did it that way. Now, I must say, this is the most boring way to level, but is the most efficient way to level. And you'll make a lot of money. I think every other mob is dropping like a blue diamond or something like that, and so you're getting a lot of platinum and stuff like that. So this is a very multi-boxer oriented leveling path. Another option is at about 75, you can go do the broken mirror quests, and I recommend doing this even if you don't plan on doing this, just to get the intro armor, the level 75 armor. All you have to do is, I think, one mission and then like 3 busy work quests, I believe, and one of those quests will give you like almost a whole level. So definitely worth it. Then I think I did on my multi-boxing series, I did this quest line, and it's by far the best because the armor you get is better than everything else, and you can upgrade it with platinum pretty much. So definitely something to note. So this is 75 to 105, just grinding this over and over. That's what I did. It's boring, but as anybody's seen in my No Regard series, it's a lot faster than what I've done for the last I think I'm at 140 videos on No Regard, so, and he's only at 112, so yeah. All right, so you're in the 100 range. You can now go to the Empires of Kunark expansion. Lyceum is a decent zone. I started doing some of the progression in there on one of my groups, just killing the random mobs and stuff around there. I prefer Frontier Mountains. That zone I grinded from as soon as I got there at about 108, 109. I kept going back and forth between the next stage in Frontier Mountains. I found killing lower level dark blues better than trying to kill higher level dark blues, yellows. So the faster you kill is pretty much the best way to go. There's a mission, Goblins and Fools. It's really easy. I did that a few times. I can't remember what the reward was, but I think you get items, and they were upgrades for some of the characters, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. You could also just do the normal expansion progression. So in Lyceum, there's a bunch of quests you can do that involve going to kill yetis and spiders and all kinds of nonsense. And those quests all reward AAs. They don't give experience or anything, but they also, if you complete certain parts of them, I believe you can get like Heroes Fortitude and Heroes AAs, which unlock different stat boosts and stuff you can get. So you're probably going to want to do those again at 115 anyway. I wish I had done them at this level when they were actually something worth doing. Now it's just like I almost one-shot the mobs, and it's kind of boring with like my Shadow Knight and the whole group and stuff. So it is what it is, but grinding in Frontier Mountains is the best path through the hundreds to 108 to 109. You could probably say they're 110. I stayed in Frontier Mountains on No Regard till I think 109, and then I burned my lesson with my Shadow Knight and got to 110. So that's a path there. So from 108 to 112 is pretty much the Ring of Scale expansion. I say 112 because I went to the Torment of Velos expansion at 110, and I tried it out, and I got literally beaten to the ground on my Shadow Knights group, my Warriors group, and on my on No Regard. So it wasn't doable at 110, and that's mostly gear and AA wise. If you're like super twinked out and you got all the gear, you're probably not even watching this video anyway. But if you're freshly started your characters and you're going through all this, Ring of Scale, I did over there. These are other zones that are useful. I think Charduk's actually from Empire's Kunark. I did a little Howling Stones, and I did some Sithir's Tomb. I preferred over there because there was endless mobs to pull, and I had no one. I didn't have to deal with anybody else. In Howling Stones, there was always some guy running around, almost training me, and it got annoying. Same with Sithir's Tomb. Actually, Sithir's Tomb was actually okay until I got it named, and it like one-shot my tank, and I had no idea why. I couldn't, like, I was looking through the logs and I couldn't figure it out, and so I just stuck to over there until 112 on my first group through. And then I did some at 110. I did a little No Memorial Mountain to try and get a an earring for my mage that was like an enhanced minion earring or something like that. I can't remember. And I did this for a little while. I never grinded the actual orcs. That's something I recommend later on, but it's, you know, it's a path. You can literally go into the mission, kill, I think the first 10, 20 orcs, quit the task, re-get the task, repeat this over and over again. And this is something that's kind of like the most optimal way in some places, but I never did it for No Memorial Mountain. I usually just cleared the whole thing, and it took me about 30 minutes to clear it, and then I think there's a 6-hour timeout before you can do it again. So I would, like, before work, go in, clear it, and then after work, when I started making, like right before I'd make my videos or something, I would do it again. You know, there'd be good 8 to 12 hours between. So definitely worth doing. The loot at the end was significantly worth the effort to get the upgrades, and it wasn't. I had to grind at about 110 to get lots of defensive AAs on my tank. I had gone all the way to 108, 109 with just the auto granted stuff. I didn't bother trying to get anything else. I didn't go farm any logs or anything like that. I did nothing. I was I was in the TBM gear, fully upgraded to the like 105 version or whatever, and that's it. I didn't have anything else, and I was getting pretty smashed. But eventually, once I had all the, you know, combat stability and stuff like that, it was a joke to go through. So that's something to do. I didn't do anything in the Burning Lands except go to the vendor that sells the required items to make trade skill stuff. I haven't done anything there. I plan to on Nomergard as kind of like an after the hero's journey kind of thing. We'll just go through and do all the quests, but I didn't have to go there. No Memorial Mountain's a part of that expansion, but it's like unrelated. So, you know, that's just, you know, my path was over there. These other zones should be just as good, but I like open space zones that I don't have to deal with other people. So, all right, from 112 to 115 is the Torment of Velos, and this is the expansion. They changed how leveling worked. So now you get large bonus experience when the first time you complete the group missions, the partisan quests, and the mercenary quests. Each of the zones have like 3 mercenary quests, 3 partisan quests, give or take. I mean, some of them might have 1, some of them might have 4. The number doesn't matter because the experience, if you do them all, you get 115 from 110. Each of the group missions, there's 4. So I think one or two zones don't have missions, but there's 4 total missions. They each give 50% of a level. So you do, you know, those, you're getting 2 levels. You do these, you're getting a lot. And there's like different levels of experience that you get from all this stuff. So pretty much you'll get to 115 just doing these. But you can also grind if you want. It's a lot slower. I've actually grinded an enchanter. just doing the what is it called? The Lesson of the Devout every day. I grind those, and I haven't done anything else. The character's still in heroic gear. I just log it on, do that, and whatnot. And I don't think I have a slide for it, but during this period and this like 110 to 110 plus, you're also going to want to do the Overseer stuff, and I didn't include that for some reason. The Overseer is like the little mini game that you can do, and each of those quests can give you 1 to 2% of a level. Just doing those, and there's like 5 a day. Maybe you can get 10 if you're really optimal on checking the timers and stuff, but you can get like, 5 to 10% of a level just doing that stuff each day. And I've been doing that on like Nomergard, and he'll jump up 5% of a level. And if I don't play during a day, but I do in the morning, I'll do like the all the Overseer quests and just won't log in until the next day, and then boom, 5%, boom, 10%. It's just easy way to level. But yeah, so the grinding method is the Restless Assault mission in the Great Divide. You can do this from, well, you can join the mission at 100, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it at 100. I don't think it scales because it's just trash mobs. I don't know how that works. I haven't tried except with a 115 character because I didn't realize it until later on. But it is definitely the optimal path through this grinding session. There's worms in the cave, just like in the open world version of Great Divide, that you can go kill. And what you do is you kill those, and you can quit the mission there. Or you can stay in the mission, go kill the goat people, the Tizmacs or whatever they're called. You can kill them too. Depending on how fast you kill, see how far you can get. With my group, I can usually clear the cave and half the Tizmarks during one lesson. Just depends on what characters I take, and I do that for AAs at 115. But it just depends. It might take a whole lesson just to clear the worm cave for some groups. So, and then the other option would be open world named camps. I would stick to Eastern Waste and Great Divide. Anything else is gonna just like destroy you at 112 to one, before 115, and you're geared. So I would do that. There's a wolf in Eastern Waste that has a nice open area. I can't remember his name, but lots of wolves and stuff spawn in the area, and you just pull those randomly, you get it named. So I found that to be one of the more enjoyable ones. But yeah. All right, so you hit 115. Your current level cap, 120, is coming soon. And it looks like it's going to be the same way as 110 to 115. There's quests in every single one of the zones, mercenary and partisan and group missions. So leveling from 115 to 120 is going to be the same way as this, pretty much, just different zones. And now you're going to want to start grinding AA, right? So I recommend Restless Assault. I did that. I'm doing that over and over on my characters, and I only do it for the lesson time. I don't do it without lessons, unless the group is like the same characters I'm reusing. Like I reuse my tank over and over. I reuse my bard over and over, but I switch everything else out with different DPS, different stuff, just like that, until I can get my warrior geared, and then I'll try running the warrior through it. But it's gonna take, gearing a new tank takes a while because you had to go farm all the augs, all the stuff, and it's daunting. But you can also go here back to Empires of Kunark. Remember how I mentioned, hey, you're gonna want to do this because it gives AA. Yeah, so you're gonna want to do this. Each of these quests, they give like 50 AA, 10 AA, depends on what they are. Kind of like how this gives 10%, 20%, and 50% of a level. Those give that many AA for those. So you're going to want to do those probably to get all of that stuff. So that's that. So, all right, you're 115. You've had a druid in your group the whole time. You realize druids suck and you want a beast lord. Well, you're going to do this. This is pretty much what I had to do. I replaced a character that was already, I think it's actually an enchanter I replaced at some point. But at 85, you're going to, start this. I wouldn't bother leveling from 1 to 85 anymore. I would just use a heroic boost. It's just so much easier, because the whole 65 to 75 or to 85 is just annoying. Personally, I didn't enjoy it. So, and I have so many heroic boosts on all my characters from buying the expansions and stuff. So just easier that way. So you're gonna first, from 85 to 100, you're gonna either open world grind with the 115 character. So 115 to 85 is like the max grouping range for this range. So you can go down to like a 110 character and get like, I think a 75. But that's up to you. I went straight from heroic to 100. So you can grind in Frontier Mountains over there, Eastern Waste, the Great Divide, or Western Waste. Western Waste is from the COV expansion. The mobs are really hard there, so if you have a really host group of 115s, that's where you're going to want to go, in my opinion. I like to do the Miscreation of Time or the Ifriti in that zone, and just grind that named camp. It takes, I would say, probably 4 to 5 different lessons, right? So, every like 12 or whatever hours it is, you burn a lesson, right? That's about how many lessons it takes to go from 85 to 100. And a lot of the characters I power leveled, I just camped them out and then swapped in a new one when their lesson was done. So that's for just trying different things. But that's the fastest way. A 115, if you optimize the group for DPS and healing, just, like a shaman healer with the maximum DPS you have available to you, it's a joke. It's a joke. And these mobs are all easy. Just depending on your gear, you're going to want to go from each of these zones. These are in progression of how hard they are. At 95, you can also do the Darkness Howls mission in No Memorial Mountain. This is the great mission. I mentioned it earlier in the other range, at the 110 range. You can do this one. At 115, it's a joke. But on level 95 characters, going to get some experience from that. From 100 to 115. So at 100, you can join the Restless Assault mission in Great Divide. And you can pretty much do the grinding here. And I've done this with several characters to try it out, and it works pretty well. So you're gonna get one shot. Like if you're a level 100 and you're not geared, you're one shot no matter what. It's hilarious. But that's something to keep in mind. You're gonna want to keep them back from the rest of your group while at like max range until they're higher level, closer to that 115 range with gear. And I recommend at 110 to gear out your characters in snowbound gear from tier 1 TOV. So that's what I recommend, but it's whatever. And then at 113, you can join the Zendikar and Arianar missions. And the difficulty from Restless Assault grinding to this grinding is significant. But I think it's worth it. I've done this a few times because I needed crafting materials to gear out my tank in the tier 3 the tier 3 stuff, and the issue I've run into is I like the miscreation of time to grind because it drops everything. That whole loop of all the undead what are they, Dragoliches or whatever, those they all drop like all the trade skill materials that you need except for fishing, and they're easy to kill. I mean, if you're at that level, they're trivial, but it's always camped on my server. So and there's no instance version of Western Waste or anything like that, so there's lots of competition on my server for these camps. So I like these missions. The missions, this one's inside of TOV. This one's inside of Dragon Necropolis. I would say this one's easier. This one is much harder. And what I like to do is, I'll zone in. I'll evac to the zone in with my druid, and then I'll clear all the rats in the zone. And then this one, I'll just work my way from the boss. You spawn in like right next to the boss, if I remember right. And if you turn around, you start seeing like normal mobs. You can go through. There's no names or anything that spawn in these missions, so you're literally just doing it for experience and for trade skill materials, if you can get them, you know. So, and that lets you get the tier 3 stuff, and then you can clear that and then go and kill the boss to do that, or just reset the mission and do it over again. But that'll get you to 115. You're gonna probably want to you're gonna want to do this at 112. You're gonna want to go do all this to get it to level up faster, unless you don't care how fast it takes this character you're power leveling to get up there. But if you don't care, then it doesn't really matter. They can just sit in your group leeching experience forever. But the more you gear them as they level up, the more damage they'll do. So that's something to consider. But that is, these are some resources, raidloot.com, eqprogression.com. He's got all the epics and stuff on there for the Epic 2.0s and guides for all that stuff. That's a great resource. Alakazam is the best resource I've ever seen. It's now owned by the people who own Wowhead, so hopefully they put a little money into it, I guess. I don't know. EQ resource is like the second best resource I found. I would say Alakazam has more information, but EQ resource has it more organized, and it's easier to find certain things. So definitely these are all top-notch sites. And then Red Guides has all kinds of guides. Like literally, they have guides on how to do a lot of stuff, not just multi-boxing stuff with MacroQuest. It's lots of other resources that are not related to that. And it's a shame that the Reddit blocks any of this stuff. Like you mention MacroQuest and they delete your comment. It's like fucking pisses me off. Like it's a major part of the game at this point. Like you sit in any of these things and you see people running it and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, the Reddit will block anything related to this website. So, but definitely has all kinds of information on there, and you know, it's people playing like, you know, multiple characters, multi-boxing, so they're doing all the numbers to figure out all the stuff that, you know, to optimize their path and stuff like that. So all kinds of good stuff on there, but definitely worth it. So if there's any questions or comments, please post them down below and I will answer them, or hopefully if I don't know the answer, I can figure it out and I'll try. It's that. So that's all my things. My YouTube, Twitch, one day I'll start streaming again, Twitter. I do have a Reddit where all the videos get posted, and then there's a Discord, so if you want to ask more questions, you can join the Discord and send me a message. And then Odyssey, which is a YouTube alternative that seems to be a little bit more free when it comes to what people can say. Like, you don't get demonetized or whatever if you swear and stuff like that. So, you know, all kinds of options out there and stuff. But yeah, that's leveling from 75 to 115. I guess that's my opinionated way of leveling. If you have alternate ways that you would like to post in the comments, please let me know, because I will be updating this guide for the 120 leveling that is going to be coming out in December. So thank you very much for watching, and have a fantastic day.